In life, the decisions we make can lead us down paths from which there is no return. This story is about one such moment, a night when love, betrayal, and tangled emotions came to the fore. Thomas Graham noticed the strange look in his wife Emily's eyes and had no idea that this night would steer them towards an unexpected path. What was on Emily's mind? Would Thomas allow his wife to fall into the arms of another? This story will draw you into the darkest corners of the human psyche. Nature makes you question the fine line between right and wrong, desire and morality. If you don't want your life to be turned upside down like mine, subscribe to my channel to learn real lessons from the real stories we share every day. Share your thoughts about the shocking truths I've experienced in the comments, and please show your support by liking my video. Now that you've subscribed, let's dive into my story as Thomas Graham. I faced many challenges throughout my life, but tonight, I had no idea what was in store for me. It all started at a restaurant where I saw Emily. She seemed really happy, her eyes sparkling. But I had this feeling that something wasn't right. As I tried to shake off the feeling, I noticed a waiter approaching me with a small note that would change my life in ways I couldn't have imagined. My heart raced as I read the note. It said my wife was in danger, but not in the way I had expected. I was expecting it. A man named Michael Reed was trying to seduce Emily. My eyes moved to the dance floor, and there they were, Emily and Michael dancing together. Her smile showed she was interested in him, which made me even more suspicious. I was ready to step in, but just as I was about to stand up, the music stopped and Emily came back to the table with Michael. I was still uneasy, but I tried to stay calm. When Emily got up to go to the restroom, though, that strange feeling came back. Her behavior was odd, and I knew something was wrong. I went to the restroom, and that strange feeling came back. She was acting so odd that I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. I was about to follow her when Michael and his friend suddenly blocked my path. Looking at these young men, I was reminded of the challenges I'd faced throughout my life. I'd become an expert at dealing with high-ranking corporate officials and mafia members. But these young men didn't pose a real threat. With a few sharp words, I could quickly deal with them. I followed Emily. She was heading for the back exit of the restaurant, and I quickly caught up with her. When I reached her, I told her to stop. She turned to me, and the look in her eyes told me everything. "Where are you going?" I asked. But her answer was the start of a nightmare. She said she was going to Michael's house. I couldn't accept that. Emily tried to convince me that being with Michael was just a fling. She said everything would return to normal the next morning. I was still seething when I woke up the next morning. This was more than just a fling. It was the end of our marriage. I was filled with anger and disappointment. How could my wife so easily consider being with another man? I saw a moment of hesitation in her eyes, but then she spoke with determination about how important this night was for her, and how he made her feel. But her words only stoked the fire of my anger. "Thomas," she said, her voice trembling slightly, "I never meant to hurt you. This isn't about love, it's just something I need to do. Just this once, and then everything will go back to the way it was. It's not about love. It's just something I need to do just this once, and then everything will go back to the way it was." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My mind was racing, trying to grasp the reality of what she was saying. "You're telling me that spending the night with another man just this once won't destroy what we have? Emily, how can you even think that?" She looked away, unable to meet my eyes. "It's not like that," she whispered. "He makes me feel alive in a way I haven't felt in years. I just need to know what that feels like again." Her words hit me like a ton of bricks. "So I don't make you feel alive anymore? Is that it? All these years, all the love we've shared, does that mean nothing to you?" Her eyes filled with tears, and for a moment I thought she might change her mind, but instead she said, "Thomas, please try to understand. I need this. Just let me go." I made my decision. If Emily was going to spend the night with Michael, then our marriage had to end right there. When I told her this, she looked horrified for a moment, but then I saw the resolve in her eyes, and I knew she understood the gravity of the situation. She briefly considered stepping back, but the determination and coldness in my gaze shook her even more. I asked her, in a quiet voice, if she was really willing to throw everything away for one night with him. "Is that what you want? What is our marriage worth to you, Thomas? "Don't do this," she pleaded. "It's not about us, it's about me and what I need right now. Can't you just let me have this?" The emptiness inside me grew a void that I knew could never be filled. "If you walk out that door, Emily, you're not just spending the night with him, you're ending us. Do you understand?" She hesitated, her hand on the door handle as if she was weighing, "I didn't want it to be like this, but if that's what it takes, then I guess this is goodbye." That night, our marriage was irrevocably changed. All the memories we had shared and the joy we had felt together seemed to vanish in an instant. I felt an overwhelming emptiness inside. The thought of Emily being with another man deeply wounded me. I could never forgive her. I could never love her the same way again. This was the night everything changed when Emily realized the magnitude. She tried to save our marriage, but this wasn't just a one-off thing. It was a decision that would change our lives forever. I'd reached my limit. I'd lost all trust in my wife. Emily would have to live with this decision for the rest of her life. In the days that followed, Emily tried to make amends. She apologized over and over, begging for my forgiveness. But how could I forgive her when I'd lost all trust in her? Our trust was broken. I couldn't look at her the same way knowing what she'd done. She'd often break down in tears as she whispered, "Thomas, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I don't know what I was thinking. Please, please forgive me." But every time I'd just turn away, the words she spoke no longer held any meaning for me. They were empty, just like the promises we'd once made to each other. Then one evening, after countless attempts to reach me, she finally broke down completely. She knelt before me, her hands clasped together, her face streaked with tears. "Thomas, please don't throw us away. I know I made a terrible mistake, but I love you. I've always loved you. Please don't let this be the end." No matter how much she begged or cried, things could never go back to the way they were. "Emily," I said quietly, "I wish I could. I wish I could just forget everything and move on, but I can't. What you did changed everything. It changed us, and I don't think we can ever go back. I know I can't survive without you, but I felt it was already over. The love we once had was gone, replaced by a hollow emptiness that nothing could fill. I'm sorry, Emily, but I can't stay in a marriage where trust no longer exists. It's time to let go." With those words, I walked away, leaving behind the woman who had once been my everything. As I closed the door behind me, I knew that this was the final chapter of our story, a story of love and betrayal, and the unchangeable results of the choices we make. We all make decisions in our lives, but some lead us down paths from which there is no return. Emily's decision, though it might have seemed like just a momentary decision, irrevocably changed our lives. Nothing will ever be the same, and this story is not just a tale of betrayal. It is a narrative that delves into the complexities of human nature, desires, and choices. Every decision brings with it consequences, and some consequences change our lives forever.